Imagine you order an app from a company that promises artificial intelligence will build it for you. Weeks later, your app arrives. It works. Except the AI that built it? It was a person. Hundreds of people, actually, sitting in offices across 5 countries, typing code by hand while a chatbot named Natasha took the credit. The company raised $450 million on this premise. They were valued at $1.5 billion. Microsoft invested. Qatar's sovereign wealth fund invested. And here's the part that should make you deeply uncomfortable. The Wall Street Journal told everyone it was fake. In 2019, and the company raised $350 million more after that. This isn't a story about a bad startup. This is a story about an industry so desperate to believe in AI that it kept writing checks even after the magic trick was exposed. Every great illusion starts with a magician who makes you want to believe. Sachin Dev was 15 when he started his first tech venture. At 17, he built a trading system for Deutsche Bank. He sold a previous startup for a reported $100 million. By the time he arrived in Silicon Valley with his new company, he didn't call himself a CEO or a founder. He called himself the chief wizard. And honestly, looking at his resume, you'd believe it. His pitch was seductively simple. You want an app? You don't need to hire developers. You don't need to learn to code. You just tell our AI assistant, her name is Natasha, what you want. She asks you clarifying questions. And days later, your app appears. Like ordering a pizza. 88% automated, he claimed. The AI does the thinking. The AI does the building. All you do is describe what you want. In an era where everyone feared being left behind by AI, de Gaulle wasn't selling software. He was selling relief. The relief that the hard part had been solved. That feeling was worth $1.5 billion. The money came fast. $29.5 million in the Series A. Then $100 million. Then $250 million, led by Qatar's sovereign wealth fund, with Microsoft writing a check too. By 2023, de Gaulle was at Davos. He was EY Entrepreneur of the Year. He was shaking hands with world leaders. The chief wizard had his kingdom. But in August 2019, a reporter at the Wall Street Journal started asking a very simple question. If the AI does 88% of the work, where's the AI? Actually, the Wall Street Journal wasn't even the first to notice. 6 months earlier, a man named Robert Holdheim, hired as a senior executive in late 2018, had already seen behind the curtain. He lasted a few months. Then he was fired. He filed a $5 million lawsuit calling the company, and I'm quoting, smoke and mirrors. Those exact words. In a legal filing. In February 2019. Nobody paid attention. August 2019. The journal publishes its investigation. The AI platform, then still called Engineer.ai, relied heavily on human engineers. Hundreds of them. Across 5 countries. India, Vietnam, Romania, Ukraine, Poland. Only about 15 engineers were actually working on the AI component. 15. The other 500 to 1,000? They were the real Natasha. Human beings, writing code, pretending to be artificial intelligence. Now, here's what you'd expect to happen next. Investors pull out. The company faces consequences. The founder steps down. Here's what actually happened. 2 months after the Wall Street Journal told the world their AI was fake, the company changed its name. From Engineered.ai to Builder.ai. That was the response. A rebrand. Let me say that again. A journalist at the Wall Street Journal published evidence that this company's core product was far less automated than marketed. The company changed its name. And then the biggest investors in the world, Insight Partners, Microsoft, Qatar's sovereign wealth fund, gave them $350 million more. $100 million in 2022. $250 million in 2023. $350 million. After. This is the moment this story stops being about a fraudulent founder and becomes something else entirely. Because when the information is public and nobody acts on it, the problem isn't the liar. It's the audience that wants to be lied to. So how do you sustain an illusion at this scale? You start by making sure nobody's checking the books. For over a year, a company claiming $220 million in annual revenue had no chief financial officer. Nobody watching the numbers. And the numbers? They were fiction. Builder.ai told investors its revenue was $220 million. The actual number? $55 million. 4 times the real revenue. Imagine walking into a bank and telling them your salary is 4 times what it actually is. That's fraud. When a unicorn startup does it, it's called aggressive growth projections. Until it isn't, but it gets worse. In May 2025, Bloomberg reported that Builder.ai and another company called Verse Innovation had been engaged in what's known as round-tripping. Roughly $60 million in transactions where both companies were essentially paying each other to inflate their revenues. Think of it like this. I give you $60 million. You give me $60 million back. We both report $60 million in revenue. Neither of us actually earned anything. Both companies deny wrongdoing. But $60 million doesn't round-trip itself. Meanwhile, both co-founders had separate legal problems. Sachin Dev Duggal faces a money laundering investigation in India connected to the Videocon scandal. His co-founder Saurabh Dhut, nephew of Videocon's chairman, faces a separate criminal case for an alleged fraudulent loan scheme. 2 co-founders, 2 criminal investigations, 2 different schemes, all while running a company that just raised $250 million from a sovereign wealth fund. And through all of this, Microsoft, one of the most technically sophisticated companies on Earth, had Builder.ai integrated into Microsoft Teams. Their logo on Builder.ai's product was the ultimate seal of legitimacy. If Microsoft is in, who's going to ask hard questions? Microsoft is also now one of Builder.ai's largest creditors, owed $30 million it will likely never see. And then there's one detail I keep coming back to. Among the 200-plus creditors in the bankruptcy filing, between AWS at $85 million and Microsoft at $30 million, there's a company called Shibumi Strategy, a private intelligence firm co-founded by former members of Israel's Mossad. Why does a failing app startup need the services of a corporate intelligence firm with ties to one of the world's most famous spy agencies? The filing doesn't say. The company hasn't explained. It's just there, in the list. By mid-2024, half the technical team had quit. The people who could see the code, the ones who knew what was real and what wasn't, were walking out. The illusion was still standing, but the stagehands were leaving the theater. And then, in February 2025, a new CEO walked through the door. He had 82 days. Manpreet Rudia had spent 20 years at Amazon and Flipkart. He knew how to run operations at scale. He knew what real revenue looked like. On February 27, 2025, he became the CEO of Builder.ai. Sachin Dev Duggal stepped down, but he kept his board seat. And he kept his title, Chief Wizard, the wizard who lost his kingdom but wouldn't leave the castle. March. Rudia fires 270 employees. He hires auditors. And as they start pulling the numbers apart, the picture gets worse with every layer. The revenue, inflated 4 times over. The Verse transactions, circular. The AI platform that was supposed to be 88% automated. The people who built whatever real AI existed had already quit. And the bills were stacking up. $85 million owed to Amazon Web Services. $30 million to Microsoft. $100 million in total liabilities across more than 200 creditors. May 20th. The killing blow. Viola Credit, one of Builder.ai's lenders, seizes $37 million from the company's accounts. How much was left after? $5 million. A company that had raised $450 million was down to $5 million. That evening, the company held a global Zoom town hall. Imagine this. You're an employee at a unicorn, a billion-dollar company. You've been told you're building the future of software. You log into a company-wide video call on a Tuesday evening, and the new CEO, the one who's been there for 82 days, tells you it's over. The company is bankrupt. Your job is gone. Effective immediately. 1,000 people on that call. Developers in India who'd been told they were training the AI. Sales teams in London who genuinely believed in the product. Customer success managers who had just reassured clients everything was fine. All of them finding out at the same moment. It was over. They weren't the AI. They were the trick. And the trick was done. And then came the second wave. The customers. People and businesses who had paid 6 figures, sometimes more, for apps built on Builder.ai's platform. They woke up to find their apps were gone. Not broken, gone. The code, the data, the products they'd been paying for vanished. One customer had been 28 months into a project they were promised would take 6. No working product, no refund, no one to call. 82 days. That's how long it took a competent outsider to look at the books, realize the fraud was irreversible, and pull the plug. The question isn't why Rudyam moved so fast. It's why nobody looked before him. And here's where this stops being a story about one company and becomes something bigger. Because Builder.ai isn't the first. It isn't even the worst. Remember Theranos? Elizabeth Holmes told the world her company could run hundreds of blood tests from a single drop of blood. It couldn't. The machines didn't work. Humans ran the tests manually. Amazon's Just Walk Out technology, the one that let you skip the checkout line because AI tracked everything you picked up, it was reviewed by roughly 1,000 workers watching camera feeds. And a 2019 study found that 40% of European startups classified as AI companies don't use any meaningful artificial intelligence in their products. 40%. The pattern is older than computers. When a technology is too complex for customers to verify, human labor hides behind it. It happened with alchemy. It happened with patent medicine. It's happening with AI. The authorities are starting to notice. In 2024, the SEC brought its first enforcement actions against AI washing. And in August 2025, the Southern District of New York, the same prosecutors who took down FTX, subpoenaed Builder.ai's former CFO. A federal criminal investigation is underway. You thought this was about a fraudulent startup. It's not. It's about a $100 billion industry where the line between real AI and a fast-typing human is invisible, and nobody has the tools or the incentive to tell the difference. Builder.ai didn't invent AI washing. They just got caught. The real story isn't what Sachin Devdegul did. It's the gap between what we're told AI can do and what it actually does, and the entire investment ecosystem's incentive to never close that gap. Because if you're an investor who just put $250 million into an AI company, the last thing you want is someone proving the AI isn't real. The fraud isn't just the company. The fraud is the system that rewards not asking questions. Builder.ai is gone. The federal investigation continues. The chief wizard's castle has crumbled. But the question that should keep you up at night isn't what Sachin Devdegul knew. It's this. Right now, today, how many apps on your phone are powered by what you're told is artificial intelligence, and what you'll never know is actually a person? The chief wizard's trick was simple. He told us the machine was thinking. We wanted to believe it, so we never checked. $450 million later, the curtain came down, and behind it, there was no machine at all. Just people, typing,